Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Jersey Boyz Podcast, coming to you live over here from the Chop Studios. But, of course, Dave Sturchio alongside the Grinch himself, who have probably had a fantastic Christmas season, considering he is the Grinch, after all, Keith Ernst. Listen, we'll get into the game, the Cowboys defeating the Commanders in a little bit, but guess what? We got some breaking news just about 40 minutes ago. Everybody under the sun reported it, but I always follow my man Patrick Walker. Trevon Diggs has been released by the Dallas Cowboys ahead of their final game against the New York Giants coming up in New Jersey, which I'm still on the fence if I'm going to go or not. We'll see. It's supposed to be like 34 degrees. Not a fan. But in any event, this kind of happens as a look, Keith, it's not a shocking thing. I'm thinking more like the timing of it.
Yeah, the timing of it's shocking for sure.
Yeah. So, again, the Cowboys are in a position now where there's a lot of weird stuff that was happening over the course of this season with the concussion, the home incident, the this, that, and the third. Like, it was just a lot. And then, like, rushing him back and fining him over the offseason for not coming to the practice facility and the training facilities and all that. A lot of drama surrounding Trevon Diggs. Including last year's DM to me. So I will say it's not a shock because the writing was on the wall. We all kind of knew this was going to happen. For them to do this right now, though, and I use this terminology lightly, Keith, there's a major difference between released and waived. He was waived. Do you think a playoff caliber team, a playoff team that's locked in, will grab him right now?
Possibly. I mean, because if they grab him, they're gonna have to throw him on the roster. So I mean, if they have an expendable player, I mean, why not? Maybe, you know what I mean. Look, I watched the Washington game again, and I made a joke in the text when I was being serious. He played awful in that game too. It's like guaranteed they had a film session maybe with him. This is my guess, by the way. And he was in the room and very combative, maybe. Who knows? Maybe the coach came at him too hot or whatever it is. And there could have been another disagreement. And boom, he's gone. They're probably like, you know what? Why are we even dealing with this anymore? You know, he's not playing well. That horse collar was stupid that he did. He was responsible for a lot of Josh Johnson's, success in that game. So, and he has not been, and I don't know what it is, okay? People are saying injuries, possibly. I mean, of course, injuries can, because you just lose one little step, tiny little step in the NFL can mean a lot. It can mean a fucking lot. So it definitely can be that, or he just was in the right place at the right time, kind of like what we're feeling from Deron Bland right now, where it's like he had that fabulous rookie season and really nothing to show for it since. And then you got Trevon, who had that awesome rookie season. And ever since his rookie season, there really hasn't been much. So I don't know what I just know both of them are getting paid too much money. And as I said on this show, I am not in favor of paying any cornerback top dollar because I don't think there's much of I don't think there's much of a difference between today's elite corners and a corner that is just below them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Like a Deion Sanders or a Revis. Like, yeah. I mean, we have those. You have those in the NFL, but it's very hard to come by those kind of
– to me, there is a few top-tier cover corner guys in the NFL where they're going to be showcased. Patrick Surtain rings a bell. The kid from New England rings a bell. Like, there are some shut-down corners that are just like – and they're not even shut down, too, because – there's going to be like, I can't believe you did that on Surtain. You know what I mean? Like, so there's always going to be these splash plays. Yeah. But when I look at Trevon Diggs from his career with the Cowboys, for me, it was never about skill, right? I always think like when you intercept the ball 11 times, you got some ball skills. Like you can't take that away from what he did. Down the stretch, Now, we all realize that we're all harping on Jerry Jones every year. Pay this guy, pay him now, pay him out. Don't let him get to this. Don't let him increase his price. Don't let him blah, 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 blah. Trevon Diggs was one of the guys that finally Jerry Jones was like, you know what? I'll pay him early. Okay, fine. He'll cave. And this is the result. Now, once you get your money, right, there's a lot of things, like a lot of factors, like love for the game, position, whatever. I watched James Cook hold out in the preseason, get his money, and then he leads the league in rushing, right? So there's levels to this. But like when I look at a guy like Trevon Diggs, I don't question skill. I question effort. Now, there has been so many times, including last year, when I was like, I put out a video and again, I caught a laughing emoji from Diggs as if like he didn't give a shit. But like there was times where he would be approaching a tackler and he would just, olay, like, go ahead, buddy. Like just avoiding contact at all times. And again, you're not going to take anything away from his ball skills when it's a jump ball and it's in his area and he could pick it up and bring it down, right? I get all that. But when they ran at him, when there was like quicker routes and you were responsible for making a big play, and don't get me wrong, like there's a couple plays where you're like, oh, Diggs, good job, but there wasn't enough of that to warrant the contract that he was being paid, right? So now with the Cowboys doing this now, I'm also very shocked at the timing of it. You would think that maybe they like shut him down for the rest of the year, saying like he's not healthy, it ain't it, like IR, right? They skipped all that, man. They skipped all that. They're like, nah, hell with this shit. I'm done.
You, bro. So, yeah, something happened. Something happened in that film room.
And like you said, like you watched the game twice. I watched the highlights too. Most of the games to study the film because I have another topic I want to talk about in a little bit. But with Trevon, man, it was as if like okay, cool, he's on the field, but he's not making an impact at all, right? And if you can't make an impact against Josh Johnson.
Yeah,
something's wrong. Josh Johnson's 38 years old. Like, he's been on every legitimate NFL team in the country, and now you're not.
Yeah, my whole thing with Trevon too is like I said, he's been slipping. I remember specifically Atlanta game last year in Atlanta when we did that game. He was awful. He was getting beat the whole game. I remember playing him back in. He was in the wrong position on a. He's just not playing good football.
Well, we're losing Keith a little bit. We're losing you a little bit we're losing you a little bit on the live stream and the internet's a little kicked out. Maybe rectify that. But like you said, it goes back to last year as Keith just figures this out. This is an audio podcast as well, so I'm just talking, rambling here. But what I will say is that Trevon Diggs to the Cowboys was one of those things where it was an absolute need at the time. He played fantastic. He warranted himself a new contract, but the contract was early, and this is why we all collectively cannot get on Jerry Jones for dragging his feet sometimes, because now you're seeing it. Now you saw it with Diggs. Now you're kind of seeing it with Bland. Right, you're kind of seeing this with DeRon Bland, and again, I understand injuries and all that stuff. I understand injuries; they happen, right? But there's something wrong here, and Keith was alluding as he brings himself back on. He was alluding to the Atlanta game where the film don't lie.
Yeah, it doesn't. And what I was trying to say is that he's been terrible at tackling. Like, fine, but at least make up for it with your ball skills, like you're saying, and that wasn't even happening. I mean, I think the best interception off the top of my head I remember him having in the last couple of seasons was against Philly at Dallas when Cooper Rush started last season. He had a nice pick in the end zone. But otherwise, I can't even think of there's been nothing positive to say about his on-field production, I think. My personal opinion. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. And this is almost like, again, you talk about Brian Schottenheimer coming in as the coach, and we'll pretty much evaluate everything as a whole next week after the Giants game. We'll kind of give them grades and stuff. We already kind of know where we're going with the defense, but which again, Jerry's not pulling any punches, neither is Steven. Like, these guys they're zeroing in on the fact that there's something wrong here with the coaching staff. But with Trevon, it almost feels like he's the last piece of a bad culture around the Cowboys, right? Like, and I don't want to say bad culture because I'm sure he's a great dude, whatever, right? Good teammate. But it just seems like he was in that DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, these me guys. And again, shout out to D-Law. He's having I called it a career year, but people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm just saying there's a lot of big plays coming out of D-Law this year. I'm not saying it's statistically his career year, but like he's doing well. And it's always when the guys leave, it's like DeMarcus Ware wins the Super Bowl. But like what I'm saying is he's that last piece, I think, of that old regime, right? And I think if Schottenheimer's really trying to change the culture of this team, you got to have guys that is going to sound corny, but that love each other, that will play for each other, that will keep, grinding it out. Look at the pregame stuff that you see from Dak and the defensive tackles and all these little small groups. Just look at the sounds of the sidelines. This week alone, those produced is art, right? It's media. It's great. We love it. Especially they only put them out when they win. But, I would love to hear it when they lose, to be honest with you, because I would love to hear like who's saying what. But again, that's why they don't do that. But when I'm looking at the sounds of the sidelines this week in particular, everybody's up in spirits. Everybody's trying to do their thing. Everybody's having a good time. Not much out of Diggs until the end when his son, which is awesome. He's another, little character that we have as far as the fan base is concerned. He's out there, rooting on the Cowboys, and Diggs is just kind of laughing. And that's all you really hear from him. So, like, I don't know if there's of course, you're going to go to bat for your friend and your teammate, but maybe he was the last of this group where people were just like,
that's not a bad observation. Just saying that, that is like, that was our, like, if you were to say to us 2 seasons ago, name your top 3 defensive players, that was them. It was those 3 of you that you just mentioned would be them. Right. But we were terrible with them last year. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence, I believe, was injured a lot last year.
He was.
Micah, I think, missed 4 games last year. But regardless, as far as I still like both of those. I know what DeMarcus Lawrence said when he left, that he'd never win a Super Bowl there and all that. I didn't mind their leadership. Maybe I question Lawrence's for sure, because once again, we had what's his name come in and take over the locker room from the Eagles, Bennett. When he was there. I think Micah is a guy. You never hear people bash Micah Parsons as far as being a teammate either. So I think he was a good teammate. I think he was part of a culture that could have been part of being a leader. You know what I mean? But as far as it being the old players like that we depended on, yes. The top 3, Trevon, Lawrence, and Micah are, you're right. It's weird that they're gone. So it is almost like we're resetting. We got to find those stars all over again,
What's great, what kind of sucks is that, like, no D-Law, no Micah Parsons, and Trevon Diggs fell off the face of the earth as far as performance is going. And then we now have the statistic historically bad defense, right? Like, it's just, and everybody's like, is it a personnel thing? Is it an Eberflus thing? Is it like, I don't know. Like, everybody's kind of up in arms. But to me, like, if you're going to replace these guys, right? You have 2 first-round picks next year, unless something happens with Max Crosby or whatever. Which, again, we can dive down that rabbit hole in the offseason. But like, what I'm thinking is, like, as these guys depart, and as you're trying to get younger and get better players, this now, like, where Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones annoy people's souls the most is when they start talking about salary cap and this piece of the pie. You know what I mean? Like, that's when they start going nuts. With this move right here saves the Cowboys over $12 million next year. So I was waiting for it to be like one of those post-June first cut things, right? Like all that nonsense to make sure it all made financial sense. But to do it now, I feel like this is the Cowboys' way of saying, like, look, man, it didn't work out. It's not going to work out. Why don't you go find yourself another squad this year even? It's the same thing we did with Zeke. Zeke signed on with the Chargers thing and never heard of him. Yeah. But, like, this is the same thing. Like, what if, I mean, look, again, there's other news that's circling with his brother right now, which is not great. But his brother was strangled someone or something on Christmas Eve or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to.
Well, here's my question. What's worse, getting strangled or cut?
Jesus Christ. Well, just unfortunately, probably the strangled part. But I would say, like, maybe his brother.
So that's why Josh Allen choked.
He was being strangled by Stephon Diggs.
There we go. See, I'm on fire right now, guys.
Awful. Even all right, Paul Stewart coming in. Jeez. Listen, I love all the Paul's my guy, man. He's great. But what I will say is, like, if this Stephon Diggs thing gets dragged to the offseason, which sometimes it does, right? Patriots are on a roll right now. What's to stop Stephon from saying, hey, guys, listen, my brother can still ball. Can you bring him on? Like, there wasn't too much, a 13-12 loss over you're not going to look at the fucking corners and you're like, wow, we can't cover anybody. It's not that. But I'm saying to do him a solid, do him a favor. Like, will he just shut it down and say, hey, now I'm a free agent. I'm assigned wherever I want, because now he can be claimed, right? So we saw this happen with Slay, right? He was waived and claimed and then realized, you know what? Don't really want to play there. So he just sat out. So, like, even if Diggs does get claimed by somebody a la the Jaguars or a playoff team, the Denver Broncos, like whoever, does he get on the field? Who knows, right? Like,
so the way the waivers work, it's going to be, it starts with like the team with the worst record can claim him first. Isn't that it?
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is a team that isn't a playoff team can claim him.
I think it's not like fantasy football where you lock other teams because they're not in the playoffs. So I don't know. I guess, right? Like, so can the Raiders claim them?
That makes more sense than a playoff team to me. Only because, I mean, if I'm a team, because, hey, let's keep, what do we have to lose? We can work with them on the offseason. Maybe we can get them back to that all-pro form. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
The only thing I say is, like, if you I think he clears waivers. And the reason why I say that is if you claim him right now, you kind of inherit the rest of this year, and I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I don't know why I'm confused on this right now because I'm just a long day. But like,
you're saying they might be.
I'm probably saying, like, I don't want to be claimed. Like, I would rather go into the next year as a free agent. It's just, hey, I'm going to go make my money, get my guaranteed dollars, all that stuff.
Here's the thing: if someone claims him, what you're saying is that they take the contract away from Dallas.
Well, if someone will pick him up after he clears waivers. So if you claim him now, you got to pay him whatever he's owed. If he clears waivers now,
we don't own the money. If someone picks him up in waivers, we don't own the money. So we want that.
Right? It would essentially, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know, but all I'm saying is the guy he performed when he performed, and then the majority of his Dallas Cowboys career, it was underwhelming. The effort, it felt like it was a big issue, and I don't know why. Like, again, I'm not in the head of these players. Maybe when you get paid, you have that certain, like, I'll do whatever I want now. As long as I'm healthy, I'll do whatever I want. Or you have the James Cooks of the world that get paid these massive dollars, and he just goes out and literally leads the league in rushing, right? So there's totally a two-way street. But it's weird. This one's weird, but now I'll raise you this. As Trevon Diggs now is off the Cowboys, there was another player that was technically off the Cowboys on Christmas Day. Keith, do you know that there was a linebacker on our roster who didn't get one snap?
Yes. And it was the Wilson, the new claim guy from Bengals. What's Wilson?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Logan Wilson. So
I saw that. Yeah.
So now Schottenheimer's explanation to this as to why it didn't happen. They said they ran 20 plays in the first half. There's always a rotation that they have, 20 plays. And he says, he maybe there's a little bit of merit to this because he says that when you wear that green dot, it's not like Pickens come out, hey, Turpin, you're in for Pickens, right? Like, that's a quick switch, run the route tree, whatever they call. When you got the green dot on your helmet, like, you're in charge of calling the entire defense. So, like, if Kenneth Murray was in there, which, again, why is he even on the field? I don't know. But, like, when he's in there, he's got the green dot.
But go ahead.
He's the what?
I said he didn't play that bad this game, believe it or not, when I was watching him. But still, we know,
like, in my mind, it's like, putting lipstick on a pick. But, like,
go ahead.
What I'm saying is with that, like, so the substitutions aren't as easy, apparently, right? When you have that green dot. Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's like putting in a backup quarterback. You got to get, like, a rep or two, like, relax, like, calm down. So to switch them in and out would make no sense as far as, like, on the fly. But when the second half came, the words that came out of Schottenheimer's mouth is that, we got to get better as a coaching staff. We just forgot.
That's not.
that doesn't add up. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch, but allow me to put my tinfoil hat on. What I'm thinking happens right now, if you remember last year, they made a reference to this on 105.3 The Fan, and I was like, oh my God, they're right. When they traded that 4th round pick at the trade deadline last year for Jonathan Mingo, right? We're all like, what? You know, like, what did you give up for this guy? And McCarthy, who ran the offense, has the ability to swap in and out players. They're saying that McCarthy was feeling slighted, like, you just gave up my next year's 4th round pick for this guy. He's not going to see the field. I'll make sure of it. So now with Eberflus on the hot seat throughout the whole course of the year, really, do you think that Eberflus was like, oh, that's funny, you want Logan Wilson on the – no. Like, almost like you're talking all this shit to me, and now you want me to play this guy over this guy, telling me how to do my job? No. You know, do you think it's a fuck you move from Eberflus?
It could be a Barfalus doesn't want him, like, basically he doesn't think he's – in other words, you're putting my name on the line now. I don't think it's being spiteful. It might be something like, I don't even think he's that good, so I'm not putting him out there. If you're gonna rip me about my defense, I'm gonna put the best players out there I think are the best.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if
I would say more of that than him going, I'm not going to play a guy because I don't see that. I don't see him doing that.
I mean,
it could be more, you know what, I'm going to lose my job anyways. I want to put the best product out there that I think, because I need to get hired again, that I think is good.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Because, like, Eberflus, in all reality, again, if he's back next year, you almost think that Jerry has completely lost his mind, right? And he's just completely tuned out and just maybe he's just sick. I don't know. Because Eberflus is absolutely, to me and to most of Cowboys Nation, going to lose his job. The problem is, when you lose your job as a man, like, your last final days, that's an audition, man. Like, that, you cannot screw this up. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is something to the fact that he's like, you traded the 7th round pick. You got me this guy. I don't even think he's better than Murray, right? So, like, maybe there is something to that. But it's just kind of weird that, like, the guy doesn't see the field.
Well, I don't understand the logic of them. Like I said, they do good with offense, but, like, with defense, it's like, you know, once again, I mean, we were terrible. We were 31st against the run last year, I think. And you bring in Kenneth Murray, who was ranked 190th out of 195 against the run. Like, that was your big linebacker free agent. That doesn't make sense. And then you get this guy in a trade. I get 7th round, fine. But still, he was on the Bengals defense that was worse than ours last year. He was a starter. So what do we have out there at linebacker right now? Like, so they're not doing the best job. So I meant, and in a Barfalus in his defense, that, you know, I don't know if he had the talent that you would think, because there were plays. I mean, once again, I say this all the time, you could tell people where to be and what to do. If they're not doing it right, what do you do as a coach? I mean, we've seen Murray whiff on so many tackles. We've seen him not go in at the right, take the wrong angle, do all these things where you're like, wait, is that how the defense was supposed to be? Or is this guy just bad? You know what I mean?
Right. And that goes to personnel, right? And who you trot out there every week, every Sunday, right? Or in the Cowboys case, every Thursday, Friday, fucking Monday. There's been so many random. I'm so mad that I paid for the NFL ticket, by the way. Biggest scam of all time. They're on national TV every week. So I was like, well, I'm so glad I fucking paid.
I want to ask you a question. You know who my MVP for the defense is right now? If I gave my MVP out, who do you think it would be?
If you gave your MVP right now,
and I decided when I was watching the Washington game, who I think is just, I love the guy.
You said outside of the Washington game?
No. When I was watching the Washington game, I realized that, like how much heart this guy has, and just how well he's playing, and just that's all I'm going to say. So it doesn't matter though. Just go. You just who do you think my defensive MVP would be right now?
I mean, it's hard to pick any of these guys.
It's very hard because there's not many players, right?
Clowney?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Clowney.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Paul
was
said
watching
the same thing. Clowney.
Right? Yeah. There you go. There you go, bro. So it's like, it's one of those things where I'm watching, bro. He has his motor just keeps going and going and going. And you sent that
Yep.
what's it called to me that it was
it's a quote from him.
Quote, and what he said was amazing. You know, it's about my family, it's about my legacy. He's like, I want to go out there and play football, like basically, like I don't care what my record is, and he's showing that. And that's what a leader does. They need to bring him back next season. He's somebody that's somebody that's when I say that's a savvy veteran, as they say, that is being such a good role model right now to the younger players. The way he's playing, the way he's pushing, being an older player, that's a locker room personality you want for next season, along with the motor and the talent. I mean, he's been one of the bright spots getting to the quarterback and getting to the running back. So I'm a big fan of him right now, and I hope we sign him back. I really do.
Did you? All right, so I'll just ask you, did you watch Sounds of the Sidelines from this week?
Bro, I told you, I don't watch those, man.
Okay, so I'm just, but to your Clowney point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He, I guess, what's his name? Bill Krosky Merritt, right? Like he goes on this long run, right? Clowney was right there, and he misses the tackle, and he's like mic'd up, like you can hear everything he said. He misses the tackle, and he punches the ground, and he's like, God damn it, and he like runs and he scores, and the whole time he's like, that's on me. That's on me, which accountability is great. But he goes, all I had to do was set the damn edge. Like, it's smarts. It's knowing your job. It's knowing how to do it. And like you said, he's performing better than anybody else on this defense. So, absolutely. Yeah, if you have a chance to bring back Clowney, who, again, you know, they made Schottenheimer made a joke. He's like, well, that's why he was the number 1 overall pick 30 years ago. Obviously, it's not 30 years ago, but like he's the veteran that you need, because if you're going to start grooming guys like Donovan Ezaraku and you know, these younger defensive ends, and if you draft any or whatever the case may be in the offseason, they're going to need somebody to kind of be right? They're going to need somebody to be that guy that's like Dak Prescott on the offense. It's like somebody that no matter what the stipulation is, right, going into a game that means nothing, right, but it's Christmas, why not ball out? Why not try to do your best? Because guess what? Nothing's promised to you next year. If they say if they see old man Clowney dogging it, who's going to take a chance on him next year, right? So, like, you got it. I think that's priority number 3 on my list right now as far as next year. I've got, or maybe 4. You know, starting with probably like Pickens, getting that sealed up, getting Aubrey locked up, getting guys like Javonte to maybe come back. I don't know if he's going to want to. He might have gotten a greater market now for next year. But then Clowney, right? And we said it last week, Keith, in a loss after the loss to the Chargers. We sat there and we looked at each other like, okay, who would you bring back on this defense? And you were like, you know, it's like,
it was tough. Yeah. And I don't even think we brought up Clowney. That's the crazy part.
I know.
Right. And now, I think that, you know, you're starting to realize things now. And I said this to you, and I've been saying it, and we're laughing about it, but going into the Washington game, you know, and I'm going to bring out not college, but in high school, my senior year, we were knocked out of the division, right? Title. So we had 2 games left, and we're like, we went out there and we played some of the best football. We were having fun. The pressure was off. We were just having fun. We were just playing football. And that happens a lot. Now, you saw it in this game more than ever with those 4th downs. We would have never went for it 6 times on 4th down if we were still in contention for something. They're having fun. They're like, hey, let's do it. Hey, let's do it. Who cares? You know, when you have that who cares attitude, and you're just being a kid again, and you're out there just having a good time, you get positive results, man. I mean, you know, and that's what I saw when I rewatched this game. Even with the defense, they played a little better. You know what I mean? You know, it's like one of those things where, and like with Clowney, like look what Clowney's doing. He doesn't care. He's out there. He's like, I'm here to play football. I don't care if I make the playoff. We're making the playoffs or not.
I mean, obviously,
this is my job.
To rebuttal, everybody cares about making the playoffs, but he doesn't want to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm saying he's not going to be like, well, you know, I'll just mail it in.
I don't mean that. I know he'd want to make the playoffs, but he's just not going to stop. You know, but it's kind of that pressure is kind of alleviated. You know what I mean? It's gone, and it's like, okay, now I'm just going to have fun.
Right,
you know?
and again, you want to play loose, you could play loose, but I just think that, you know, going into the Giants game, but before we do that, Got a question from my man Paul, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if Paul's the one that's across the pond, am I wrong? There's a couple guys that I follow that are from England. I don't know if you're one of them. But question, guys, obviously with the offseason around the corner, we have 3 massive needs: defensive end, cornerback, and linebacker. What would you prioritize? Is there anyone so far for the draft that piques your interest? I got to be honest, man. This is why I don't do the whole, like, I can't wait to see what pick we got, because I don't dive into the college player until the season's over. Like, clearly I watch college ball and I know who hawks around and who's good and who's not. There was a lot of stuff around, when we drafted Overshawn, how we were like gaga over that. We're like, oh my God, like we watched him at Texas. He's fucking great. So right now the linebacker from Ohio State is ringing the bell. He looks like a purebred linebacker. But there's a lot of moving parts in that shit. And that's not my expertise. I'm not about to talk to you about the draft right now with 1 game to go. But I would say I'd like there's the linebacker from Texas. I would by the way, who I would prioritize is linebacker. I think so too.
First.
Yeah,
I think his name is Anthony something. Can't remember his name, but he's that's the guy I'm looking at. If he comes out.
Yeah. So we're both in agreement that linebacker is the priority, right?
And absolutely.
And
absolutely.
My boy Mike, who goes as so amazing, and NJ, big Cowboy guy, coming and says cornerback, definitely. So here's where I just push back on the corner thing. Understanding what we just did with Diggs, right? Everyone, Diggs is gone now. Bland hopefully will be back, right? Like next year. You guys got, the couple guys that are starting to show a little, like Revel. There's definitely some polishing to do there. You got Reddy Stewart. I really liked watching him play. He hustles. We don't know what he's going to be, really. It's hard to judge right now. But what I will say is, if you shore up that defensive line, linebacker core, that front, these corners that we all covet get better by default. Like they don't have to cover for 4 or 5 seconds, 6 seconds while we're scrambling around trying to get the quarterback. That's why I feel like that core, that center group between the 4 defensive linemen and your 3 linebackers or whatever, that front 7 is just so much more impactful around the whole thing. Now, Mike also brings up Caleb Downs. My man, if Caleb Downs is there where the Cowboys pick, then you run to the podium. I think he's the best safety in the country. And I think he's unbelievable to watch. That might be a situation where it's a CeeDee Lamb situation where we weren't in dire need of a receiver, but when we came up in 16 or 17, whatever the fuck it was, came up and I was like, oh man, CeeDee Lamb's still on the board? And they took him. I'm like, holy shit. So if Caleb Downs is there at 15, 16, 17, wherever the Cowboys wind up picking, so because all assumptions are that we're 8-1 after this week, Lord knows what happens. I'm just saying that's where my assumption is. So if that's the case, you're probably going to be in that 15 to 17 range. If Caleb Downs is there, yeah, go nuts. Sign him up. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, look, the defense is obviously something that is addressed today on the immediate, right? Because Trevon Diggs is no longer a Cowboy, which again is kind of crazy to say, considering a couple years back, we're like, this guy's the best corner in football. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy how guys fall off the face of the earth within a couple of years. I can't remember. Do you remember another Cowboy, since we're a Cowboys podcast after all, do you remember another Cowboy that was drafted that had one of these fantastic 1 year, 2 year campaigns and then just fell off the face of the earth?
Shoot. Well, no. I mean, Terrence Newman had a good few years. I mean, Roy Williams, believe it or not, Roy Williams was strong his first few seasons, and then he kind of fell off. Because we could have got Ed Reed instead of Roy Williams, by the way. Who was I know. But I meant stuff like that where it's so I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Claiborne, according to Mike, Claiborne from LSU came out of college, had a good first year, and then just But I don't remember. Yeah,
I don't think Claiborne was. We gave up a lot for what we gave up for him and everything. He never lived up to that.
I was thinking about the other day, me and my old man were talking about it, the Cowboys, do they cash in when they're in that top 5 pick, right? Because we sat through 3, 5, and 11 years in a row, right? With the all the Dave Campo, Changaley Deers, right? I'm trying to think of those drafts, and I'm also trying to think oh my God, did we trade a bunch of those first rounders because we wanted guys like Joey Galloway and fucking
Joey Galloway? We traded,
I'm oh my God, we basically built other teams for them, right? But for me, it's crazy to think about this. Zeke, who I love, is out of the league now. I don't think he ever gets signed again. It's probably over for him, right? He's a running back.
Oh yeah, he's done.
It was between him and Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey's still in the fucking league. You know what I mean? So I really do. I'm like, oh man, did we miss that?
Well,
but again,
I don't know if we have that 2014 season. I'm sorry, 2016 season without Zeke.
Oh God, he's saying Mozzie. Mozzie never had anything good. He's like, don't get me started on Mozzie Smith. I'll raise you another Smith, Jalen Smith. Like, oh, so he's got drop foot and he needs like a new leg. Fuck it, bring him on. Let's go. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, but that's actually a good one, Sturch, because he did okay in his first couple seasons and he fell.
Well, didn't he sit out 1 year?
Well, his rookie year but once he came in, he had a decent. He was doing well. Remember, he signed that big contract with us.
I know.
And then the same thing. It was almost like with Trevon. So that's actually the best one, I think.
Did we trade up for Dez? Did we not? I don't know. Well, Dez to me was a baller all the way to the end of his Cowboy. Me, I mean that.
Well, he slipped. I think like CD.
I want to say. You know what? Did we trade back into the first round? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like I said, long day, long week.
He was the first pick taken that for us.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like I just like I said, like it's kind of crazy when with this way the draft is right now for the Cowboys is that yes, you're going to have 2 first-round picks. That means, like you said yesterday, Keith, even if the worst pick is the Packers and they fall in the range of 23, 24, whatever, you are going to have the opportunity to either A, have 2 of the top 25 players in the country on your team tomorrow, right? Like right away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or you entertain, hey, the Raiders are like, listen, man, you give us that Packer pick, we'll give you Max. And you're like, oh, maybe. Because what they're doing with Max Crosby is beyond me. I have no idea how that all shook out like that. That just makes no sense to me. They shut him down, and he's on a trampoline the next day with his daughter. It's like Schefter's out there like, he needs surgery on his knee. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look like he needs surgery. He's bouncing up and down with his daughter right now. What are you talking about? That's like T.O. when he was doing the fucking sit-ups in his
he wanted to play though. Crosby,
of course he did. He's a baller. He wants to play.
I don't know if there's but there, like I said, if there's bonuses involved too, we don't know all that contract.
That's very true. There was I was sick to
but you know what I would do, bro? You know what I would do if I was like the Raiders GM or the owner or whatever, and he's like, if he said that, Crosby, look, I want to play because I want my bonus. I just give him the bonus and be like, just sit out, man. We need you for next year, and then give him
keep him in bubble wrap. Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case,
that's why I don't think it was incentive based because maybe they would have did that.
Yeah, that's the stand up thing to do, you know.
Yeah. And it made me sick because again, I hustle hard for my money, right? But then like somebody makes a catch, I'm like, that catch was worth $500,000, and I'm like, what? You know, like, but yeah, and he's like, if he has 3 more in the next 2 weeks, that's another 250. I'm like, all right, fuck all this shit. Like, you guys are getting paid hand over fist. Don't drop anything ever again. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's here's another comment coming in from Paul here. He says, Jalen Smith, rookie year out, first actual season, he was good, but when we brought LVE to help him pair, he declined. The Browns game where the fisherman running back tore us apart in the A gap, Smith hitting the wrong gaps.
Oh, yeah. That was in Dallas. That was
good times. Another question coming in from Mike. Should the Dallas Cowboys pursue Jair Alexander, pairing him with Bland? He's a little bit of a I mean, is name value? Sure. Right. Like Jair. Right. But like he hasn't been much, so maybe he's also fallen off a little bit. So I don't know if I'm spending any kind of money on that or capital. I think he latched on with the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure if they released him, but well, there you go. Another one coming in from YouTube. Diggs was gone when Al Harris and Micah left. You could tell his love for playing the game left when those 2 guys left. So again, do you want that kind of clicky bullshit? Like, oh, my best friend got traded, so I just don't want to play.
Right.
What are we doing? You're an adult. Like, let's not.
No, but it's not a bad take at all. I bet that's
not at all.
But you don't want that kind of player, is what you're saying.
Right. Like,
right. I get it. Yeah. That makes sense.
So, in any event, the Cowboys are 7-8-1 heading into the final week of the season. I'm on the fence. Maybe Mike, you could text me later if you're going. I don't know if I'm going yet. It's one of those things I'm kind of weather permitting because I just don't want to freeze my ass off out there for a meaningless game, right? I could probably by the way, you can get into Giant Stadium, MetLife, whatever, for like $24 this week. So it's very affordable. Don't get me wrong. But you're also sitting at the top of the stadium. If I were to spring for this game, I would probably spend a little bit of extra money so I could just sit behind the Cowboys bench and just fuck with the players and like hang out, not in a bad way. Just like, yo, Dak, yo, whoa, shit. For that reason, I would do it. But like to sit in the row like 14 of the 400 section to watch, Dak dice him up for a half and maybe have the Joe Milton experience in the second half. I don't know. We'll see. But so the Cowboys are going into New Jersey. All signs are pointing to all the starters playing. Obviously, we've already talked about this last week, Keith, is that Dak Prescott potentially, knock on wood, has the availability to go into the 2026 off or 2025 off season and be completely built like a good bill of health. Do you think, and there's guys out there that they're chasing some kind of stuff, Bruce, I almost said Bruce Carter, another one, fucking Cowboy. Abdul Carter says he wants that Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Now I'm looking at him like, well, I don't remember hearing your name a lot this year, and you guys went 3-13, so chances are you're not going to win that, especially not 1 week. But they might be coming for blood. They might be coming for the heads of all these players. If they're going out there and they're not going to win the game because pound for pound we're better, then they might be going for knees and take guys' heads off. So I don't know how much I want Dak out there. I know right now I believe he still leads the league in passing by like 200 yards. So do you let him chuck 150 yards and say, look, man, if I can't get it done at 350, then fuck it, I'm done? Like, I don't know. How do you approach this one?
I don't think any player will have ill will doing that. I don't think that they're going to they wouldn't do that to a player anymore. This isn't the 1970s, 60s, or even the 80s, where they were putting hits on people like that. I know we can bring up the Saints and Bounty Gate and all that, but so I don't think
not to cut you off, he's only 30 some odd yards ahead of Stafford. So that's where we're at. I thought it was like 200. So
I think that is, dude. I mean, if I was Dak and I'm feeling healthy, I get it. He's having a fantastic year. Mm-hmm. And for him to be the leading passer in this league, the first Dallas Cowboy to do it, I think that's a huge accomplishment considering how the great quarterbacks we've had. So I would play him. I was for Milton last week, but just seeing him, he was running more this last week than I've ever seen him run, which is crazy.
And
but
the issue is,
there is a time though. There is a time where it's like, look, if everything's going smooth and, if we're blowing them out or they're blowing us out or whatever it may be, he doesn't need to play to the very end. You know what I mean? Let's not, let's not get too crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only thing that worries me, and I'm not saying that I ever worry about what Tyler Smith can do, but they kicked him out nonchalantly to left tackle, which, he was still, the offensive line was still kind of suspect. You got guys like TJ Bass in there and I'm like, oh, okay. So now all of a sudden you're not trotting out that front five that you had in the beginning of the year to protect Dak Prescott. Now you have a couple guys that have been there for a long time. They've been seasoned. They're good. They're not great, but they're good. Now, again, we're not saying that the Giants are going to be, bounty hunters, right? We're not saying that. What we're saying is, and like Paul just said, all it takes is one injury, one tackle the wrong way. And now on top of that, Keith, how many lives has that MetLife turf or grass or whatever the fuck it is has taken from us? Look, man,
if you're
a lot of guys went down there.
If you're asking me personally, now from my mind, I would start Milton. And I told you I would have started him last week just to see if he's a good backup and we keep him for next season. That's my, plus you don't want Dak to get injured and go into the offseason healthy. So I'm all for starting Milton, but I'm looking from playing devil's advocate from Dak and what he would be thinking, what the coaches want to think too. They want the offense to remain number one. The offense, is one of the best offenses. You don't want to have a 200-yard game at the end of the season, because then that kills your, going into the offseason, the rankings and the stats, because nobody's going to bring up, Dak didn't play the last in 2 years. No one's going to know who played the last game of the season. Right. They're just going to look at where your offense was ranked. You know what I mean? So there's that. But me, I would start Milton. It was not even a question. I would, because
and I want to see what he could do.
I do with with players that have made the team, not preseason players that are on the bubble or getting. These are actual roster players that were good enough to make the team. Let's see what Joe Milton can do with these players. And another thing I want to bring up watching the Washington game is our offensive line was phenomenal, bro, with the run. They were pushing, bro. They were pushing them 4 or 5 yards off the fucking ball almost every time. Yeah. So that was very impressive. And I see us running a lot in this game. I wanted to bring that up.
And after you're probably going to see a heavy dose of I think Javonte is going to probably be shut down. If you have a shoulder banged up for the last 2 weeks, there's no reason to, right? Like, unless again, but from Javonte's perspective, he's also a free agent next year. So it's like, do I just sit out and say like, hey, this is what I did in 16 games, pay me? To anybody else. Like the Cowboys know what they got in him, right? The guy took a soul on Christmas. He ran that guy over who might not still be up, right? Like, so that was great. But like for somebody like him, it's sketchy for me to say like, Javonte, get in there and start plowing guys over again. Like, I don't know. You might see a lot of Malik Davis.
Whatever he wants to do. You ask him. If you're that, say, look, are you healthy enough? Do you want to play or don't you? Because this is on your contract. Basically for us too, not just for you and other teams. You give him the option and see what he says. Because if he doesn't, I think no matter what, whether he plays or not, he's going to get more money next season from somebody, whether he plays or not. So
he's increased his value.
Yes, he has. So
clearly, right? But then you think about draft picks, right? That you don't call them hits or misses right now because you just don't know. But like guys like Jaden Blue, who can't even get activated, right?
Dude?
Huh?
Where is he? I mean, that's my whole thing. All right, say that he doesn't play, Williams. So we're gonna have Lupke and Sanders. That's it.
No. You meant Malik Davis.
Oh yeah, sorry. Malik Davis and Lupke. That's it.
Maybe. Or again, bringing up another name. If Phil Maffa's cleared, maybe we get a look at him. I don't know. Like,
is he cleared yet? That's my thing. You got Maffa and you got Blue. They're not even sniffing the field.
I thought we were going to get Maffa last week, to be honest with you. With Jaden Blue, it's weird because like Schottenheimer, it's so weird because it's the same thing with like Maurice Liufau, right? Like you're looking at these guys and you're like, you really like these guys and you want to see them play. But for whatever reason, Jaden Blue has not shown the consistency, according to Schottenheimer. What that means to me is, he's having good practices, but he's also learning so many other things that maybe the veteran already knows or whatever, like little things that keep him off the field. Maybe you don't want to showcase him. Maybe you don't want anybody to know. I don't know, man. Maybe you want to have him be a hidden gem in 26. Who knows? But like that dude hasn't seen the field except for like a couple games. And you're like, well, what the hell? And again, we as Cowboys fans, Cowboy fan creators, Cowboy fan podcasters, Cowboys people know the roster in and out. So for us to be like, yo, Jaden Blue, right? There's going to be Joe Schmo down the street who's a Chargers fan who's going to be like, who the fuck is Jaden Blue? Right? Because we drafted him in the 5th round, but we're touting him up. Oh, he's the fastest one in the draft. He's the man. You're making memes. You're my boy, Blue. And all of a sudden, the guy can't see the field. So, like, I'm on the fence with him. You want to trot him out there to see what kind of burst he can have in week 18? Go for it. But
you know what's crazy?
If Blue can't get on the field this week and Javonte's banged up, that says something, man. I'm sorry.
Like that. I was going to say, like, it's weird that we haven't really brought up Blue or Maffa this season that much because our offense has been great without him. Well, you know what I mean? We haven't had any struggles in our rushing or our passing game where it's like if we did, we'd probably be like, put them in, but we don't need to put them in. We don't have to because our offense has been playing so well the whole season. So with this now, with Blue, I agree with you. I mean, this might be the time, bro, for them to did I break up?
No, you're good.
This is the time to evaluate them as well behind that starting offensive line. If they're cleared, I don't even know. I don't know because he's a healthy scratch, Blue, right? He's been a healthy scratch.
Every week he's a healthy scratch.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Again, maybe you pissed off the wrong guy. I don't know. I truly don't know. But what I'm saying is, like, we would have gotten more looks at these guys, I think, because you say that, we're good on offense. We don't really need any of the help. We really did hum on the offense all year long. And we did. There's been a couple, skids in a row. But because the defense was so bad, and because you're now playing from behind, or you're trying to, like, that's why you don't see these extra feel good guys like a Rudy moment, like, get the kid in there. We're only down 3 to Philly. You know what I mean? Like, there's not an opportunity there for him to go excel, because we always had to worry about scoring 30 or more to even be competitive in football games, which is ridiculous, right? So that's why I think Maffa's been hurt, but like Jaden Blue, like, that's why that guy's not seeing the field, because even if he was out of the doghouse, when would you want to bring in a fourth running back anyway? You bring in a fourth running back when you're up by 30 with the fourth quarter with a minute to go.
The question is this week, and the question for this week is he needs to play. I mean, because we don't know if Williams is even going to last with his shoulder. We need another running back in there, whether it's Maffa if he's cleared or Blue. You just can't have. I keep saying Sanders, but Malik Davis.
Well, he was there.
You can't have Malik Davis and Lupke in case somebody gets hurt. There might be somebody that gets hurt, and you just can't have Lupke take every carry, because that's not. We'll
just put CeeDee Lamb or Turpin back there. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be interesting to see. That's going to be interesting to see with this. And another thing that's very interesting, and that's on the line, which no one's really talking about, is look. Dak Prescott has not lost to the New York Giants since his rookie season. That's crazy. That was 2016. So you're almost going on, 10 years? Almost 10 years seasons of him beating them when he starts, that is, which is the majority of the games. They have not been able to beat Dak. Dak has his best games against the Giants, as he did earlier this season. So that's what's interesting about this game. Don't think that Jackson Dart doesn't know that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Don't think that Dart
110%.
Don't think that he doesn't want to beat us, because he's
don't think the Giants are laying down anymore, considering what we just watched. Right, so they knew what was at stake going into that Raider game. They said, we win this game, we're out of that number 1 pick, right? And, and Jackson Dart was like, fuck yourself. I'm balling right now. Let's go.
They don't give a shit about a draft.
And that's why, again, there's two different. There's again, you and I and Brett, we're all in agreement that there's no such thing as the players tanking, right? But what you saw on full display by the Raiders was the GM and the team saying, yeah, no, we don't want to win this game. Max, you're out. Bowers, you're out. They're like taking out all the players. It was on the wall. And like I'm saying, like, oh, so the Giants are going to roll. And they did, right? So, yeah, to your point, I think that Jackson Dart sees that and says,
I think the Giants would have rolled regardless.
I do too, but I'm just saying it was more on the surface that the Raiders were doing it in front of your face, right?
Yeah, you're right, and that's what we're trying to say is the players. You put a player in, they're not gonna bomb for their team for a draft pick. But what Sturch is saying, the GM and the coach, they'll put the personnel in and pull people out, so it happens. But there's not one player that's going to play bad, because that's their value. You know, why? Oh, I'm going to play. So the Raiders get a great draft pick. I'm going to play bad. Like, what?
Now, if you think about it you think about it like this, there's another sideways way to think about this game, right? Obviously, me and you and Brett, we're all in agreement. Go win every game, because, nothing's promised. Just go win every game. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I want to finish 8-1. Now, if the Cowboys win, they're kind of helping the Giants. They're boosting. Like, I don't know how the Raiders are going to do it. The Jets are probably going to get the shit kicked out of them because they're playing the Bills. But the Jets will be in that conversation, right? And then the Giants have to lose, and the Raiders got to win. Like, all of a sudden, I would love to beat the Giants, but do I want them to have the number 1 or 2 pick? I don't know. But that's just circumstance. That's whatever.
Right.
But yeah, let's get into this game. I know it's hard to pick these games when they don't mean anything, but the Cowboys are going in there, 1:00 start. They're going to be in and out of New Jersey before you know it, and the season's going to be puff up in smoke. And all the moves that we plan on doing, and we'll go over that in the offseason with potential free agents and draft picks and all that shit, the fun shit that we do in the offseason every year for the last 30 fucking years because we haven't really been able to celebrate anything else. But what I will say is this team coming into this game, Keith, whether it be Dak for a half, Milton at a half, Giants are going to go full throat, ready to fucking rock and roll. How do you see this one playing out?
It's hard for everything I just said. As far as
yeah, it's okay. No, you're good.
All right. Anyways, so what I was going to say is that Jackson Dart, what I just brought up, that is the person that is making me waver back and forth. I know our offense is going to score. I don't care what defense you put in front of this offense when everybody's starting. They're going to come out and they're going to score enough points to win, which is 21, 24 points regardless. I think the least amount we scored was with Denver, 17 or 14 or something like that, or maybe that was at the Bears. I don't remember. But my whole point is that they're going to score points, especially against this Giants defense. Now, it's what Jackson Dart and that offense is going to do to our defense, which is still a Barfilis, which is still with or without Trayvon. It doesn't matter. They're still not playing very well. So I think it's a closer game. I think it's going to come down to it. If Dak starts the whole game, I say we win. And I can't. That's what's so hard about this. So I'm going to say he does start the whole game, and I say we win 34-30.
Wow. Okay, so Jackson Dart's putting 30 on us. Now, keep in mind, the biggest, most stressful game of the 2025 campaign to me will forever be that week 2 game against the Giants when we're letting Russell Wilson, who's going to be probably out of the league next year, throw for 500 yards. That was probably and ask my family, I probably lost, 10 to 15 years off my life of that game. So that one's fresh in my mind right now because I'm thinking like, all right, who was there? Who was playing for the Giants then? Who's there? Who's playing for the Giants now? There is no Cam Scottabello anymore. We don't got to worry about that. But Devin Singletary's been running his ass off. Tracy's been doing well. They got a couple good tight ends. They got a decent offense. And I think if I'm the Giants, and I'm not a Giants fan, and I hate the team more than pretty much every other team except Philly, I would say that the Giants roll with Dart going forward and protect the guy, right? He's been in the blue tent more times than anybody else. So protect him by, when I say that, meaning like go draft an O-lineman. You don't really need a receiver. Malik Neighbors coming back. I think you guys are going to be fine in that regard. Maybe whatever. I would say offensive line. But in this game in particular, with Jackson Dart being able to showcase and potentially derail this record that Dak Prescott has against the Giants, if you thought that they're going to lay down, right? Because not for nothing, and I think Jimmy Palumbo brought this up the other day. He goes, just so you know, if the Giants, for whatever reason, win this game, there's a potential that the Giants can not only go from 1 to 3 like they did, but now from 3 to like 9 based off of one win. So it's like, man, like, and they're already saying like, oh, we're bringing back Joe Shane and like he's going to be the guy to draft our player, blah, 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 blah. So I don't see the Giants putting forth their best foot forward. They will score points because I think if you, me, and Brett lined up against the Cowboys defense, we can maybe move the ball a little bit, right? Like that's obviously I'm kidding, but like that's how bad this defense has gotten.
Well, here's my question. I mean, you're saying so you're saying that the coaching staff are going to not start the starters that are supposed to play, so they bomb the game, sort of like with the Raiders.
I don't know if it's going to be as obvious as what the Raiders did. There's not going to be anybody thrown on IR for shits and giggles, right? Like
if that's the case, you just don't put, because that's how players get hurt too. I mean,
right.
So
and they don't want to.
If you're going to play Dart, you're going to have to. You just don't put them out there with a makeshift offensive line and say, "Okay, do what you're going to do." So
100%. So
Dart starting kind of diffuses that point. You know what I mean? I mean, I think otherwise he wouldn't be starting. They'd be like, you know what? Hey, Dart, you're our starter. Let's see who's behind him. Jameis Winston,
Russ or Jameis or whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the Giants are going to be able to score because the defense has just been that bad. How many times they score? I want to give them 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So I'll give the Giants 17 points in this game, but I'll stretch it and say that, something goes wrong and we give up 20, right? We'll give up 20, but we score 24 because we're not, again, Giants defense ain't terrible, right? But like, I also think that the Cowboys are going to, move the ball, run the ball, possess the ball a little bit more, where maybe not so many splash plays, quick possessions, maybe a little bit more on the clock. So give me the Cowboys to win this one 24-20. There's 6-point favorites on the road. So, I mean, do with that information as you want.
4.5 now. It's down.
Oh, really? It went down? Okay. So then, funny, so I'm like right on the number then because I didn't know that. But
come on, because I did 34-30. You did 24-20. So it's the same thing, 4 points. Last week I said 27-23, and it was 30-23. So it was close.
Yeah, you were close. You're right there. So yeah, give me the Cowboys 24-20 to finish the season 8-1, which is really going to bug me if the Packers lose this week. Because if the Packers lose this week, they're going to finish 9-7-1, meaning we finished one game out of the 7 spot, which drives me nuts because all things considered, after everything that this team has been through this year, the clock operator just had a happy trigger finger and gave them one more second in that game. We would have won. So we would have been in the playoffs. Do I think we're going to make noise this year? No. But even if we were in it,
we don't want to. Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't want to get embarrassed.
You always want to see an extra game. You always want to see an extra game, but this defense is not worthy.
As a fan, right? As a fan, you want to
line up. They're not going to turn it on. They're not going to do anything. They're going to get fucking abused. When JJ McCarthy lights you up, when Josh Johnson's lighting you up, when fucking Jacoby Brissett's lighting you up.
JJ McCarthy. What you just said. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be one of those games where we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. It goes down this week. MetLife Stadium, finished the year strong, Cowboys. I believe that we win this game and we go in there. It's not a losing season if you're 8-1. I don't think, at least percentage points wise, I don't think so.
And just imagine, I was watching the Rams yesterday and, with Stafford and all that. And, just watching these teams. And, the Rams defense didn't play that great yesterday because they let Bijan, as you know, run all over him. But just if the Cowboys just say they had the Rams defense, say they had any other fucking defense but ours. I'm serious, dude. They'd be the number 1 seed. They would. They would be the number 1 seed in the NFL if they had any other defense but ours. I mean, it's insane. I won't say any other defense, but any top or close to top. Imagine Seattle's defense; they would have fucking went undefeated. I know I sound like a kid. I'm serious.
You're not wrong because remember when we were at 31. When we were to 31 and 32 defense or whatever, I was like, yo, give me 20. Give me the 20th ranked defense in the NFL. And we're winning 3 more games than we won this year. We'll be 11 wins.
And everyone think about this. If we win the game against the Giants, we're 8-1 with one of the worst defenses. No, I think the worst defense in the Dallas Cowboys history. So I meant that's something to be that's something to look at and be like, damn, we still had 8 wins with the worst defense ever. That's crazy.
It is kind of alarming to think about how bad this defense is and how good the offense was, and you just couldn't get right. You couldn't get complimentary football. You got a couple weeks of it where you're like, oh, maybe this is it, and then just came back to life. And a lot of people, even my father, he was once saying maybe those Cowboys just won some games on heart and adrenaline when the passing of Marshawn Nealon, and then you go out there and you beat up on the Raiders. You come back and you beat the Eagles, and then you go out there on Thanksgiving, you beat the Chiefs, and you're like, holy shit, this is something new. And then they showed their ass, and then they're back. They're back to doing whatever they were doing. I don't know why they did that to us. I'm not sure why, but that's where we're at. It's the Cowboys, man. This is what they do. So with that being said, we both got the Cowboys winning this game. I'm sure Brett's got the Giants in this one. We'll talk to Brett later on, I guess. But, yeah, man, it's been a fun season, I guess, in some regard. And then we'll wrap it all up next week. We'll see how they finish. We'll see what the draft pick is. We'll see how this all goes. We'll evaluate all the players, coaches, who's got to go, who's coming, who's gone. We'll do all that next week. Happy New Year to everybody. Go Cowboys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.